Lesson 2, topic writing in slope-intercept form. Learning target, I can write a linear equation in slope-intercept form. So first off, slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b. We worked with this last unit. So this is a reminder, a refresher of something you already know. So slope-intercept form, y equals m, which you should remember stands for slope. And remember, we have those different ways we can find slope. We have our slope formula, which we talked about last unit, or last lesson, excuse me. And then we have our rise over run, which is how we find it from a graph, which we talked about in our last unit. That was in unit 2. And then we have plus b, and remember that's your y intercept. So where we cross the y axis. And remember, it can also be minus b. So we always have to take that sign with the number. So now we're going to practice writing an equation from a graph in slope-intercept form. So to do this, we need to find the slope, or our m, and we need to find our y-intercept, or our b, so we can put it together and write an equation in slope-intercept form. So these are two things we already know how to do. We're just putting it together in a different way. So first off, step 1, we'll calculate our slope. So rise over run. Remember, we make that slope triangle. And then we calculate that rise over run. So we have our rise is 2. And our run is 4. So right now our slope is 2 over 4, but we're not done yet because we have to always check, do we have a positive slope or do we have a negative slope? Always double check. So if we look at that line, it's going down the mountain from left to right. So this is going to be negative 2 over 4. Now, if you leave your slope as negative 2 over 4, you're not wrong, but we can simplify that fraction of 2 over 4. So both numerator and denominator can be divided by 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1. 4 divided by 2 is 2, and we keep it negative. So our slope is, in simplified form, negative 1/2. And then we just need to identify our y-intercept. So I'm going to clear my graph here. Identify the y-intercept. We go to the y-axis. And where does our line touch the y-axis? Well, it touches right here at negative 3. So our y-intercept is negative 3. So now to write the equation is just putting those two pieces together. Y equals mx. Well, m is our slope, so we put our slope in that blank, which is negative 1/2, plus our y-intercept, which is our b, which is negative 3. So when we write our equation, it's just y equals mx plus b. So we can put plus negative 3, or we could also just write that as minus 3. Either option is acceptable. All right, let's do one more example. Write an equation for the graph in slope-intercept form. Sometimes we get graphs with numbers, like we have here. There's numbers on the x and y axis. And sometimes we have graphs without numbers, and so we have to know how to operate with both. But our steps are still the same. Step 1, calculate your slope. So do that rise over run. So make that triangle. Rise, we go 1, 2, 3, 4. So our rise is 4. Over our run, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. that fraction can't be reduced, so it's going to stay 4 over 5, but don't forget to check positive slope or negative slope. If you look from the left side of the graph to the right side, we are going down the mountain. So it is a negative slope. So we want to make that negative 4 over 5. So I know my m equals negative 4 over 5. Now my next step is identify my y-intercept. So remember, your y-intercept is always on your y-axis. So we find our y-axis, which is right here. And where does our line, our pink line, cross that y-axis? Well, it crosses right here. So I know that right here is 0. This would be 1, 2, and that would be 3. It's at positive 3 on my y-axis. So my b is 3. So now I just have to write an equation. I just have to put those pieces together. So I follow my example. Y equals mx. So I find my m, which is negative 4 over 5. So I put negative 4 over 5 where m is. Keep that x next to it. Plus b. Well, my b is 3, so it would be plus 3. That's all the notes I have for you. Please go and do your lesson 2 practice.